After the World War II, Europe lay in ruins. Factories were destroyed, metal was worth its weight in gold. Most people were not thinking about luxury, but simply about how to get to work and back home. Full-size automobiles were expensive to produce and inaccessible to the majority. It was precisely in this reality that the idea of a simple, cheap and surprisingly durable vehicle was born. The three-wheeled Velorex. Today it looks strange, even funny. But in its time, the Velorex was a true lifeline for thousands of people. In the late 40s, car manufacturers across Europe were searching for a compromise between possibilities and needs. This is how microcars and tricycles appeared. The BMW Isetta, Messerschmitt and other unusual designs. In Czechoslovakia, this idea was taken up by brothers František and Mojmír Stransky. Two-stroke motorcycle engines. The simplest frames, lightweight bodies. They all shared the same philosophy. Minimal materials, maximum practicality. The story of Velorex began long before mass production. As early as 1936, the Stransky brothers, who owned a bicycle repair workshop, began to wonder, was it possible to create something between a motorcycle and car? Without pedals, but with protection from the rain, stable and affordable. The work took years. The first prototype appeared in 1943, right in the middle of the war. It was named Oscar, a wordplay based on Czech words osa, axle, and kara, cart. Essentially, it meant a cart on axle. It was not a car in conventional sense. A special tubular frame surrounded the driver, covered on the outside with aluminum sheets. This type of construction was closer to aircraft and racing cars than to mass-produced automobiles. The two front wheels were connected by a steering rack, while the single rear wheel was driven by a chain from a motorcycle engine. As Mojmír Stransky later recalled, the first drive was a real celebration.
You cannot imagine the feeling of joy when we drove it for the first time. We were shouting with happiness. People probably thought we had gone crazy.
And although the Oscar looked awkward, it had important advantages. It didn't fall over like a motorcycle, it protected the driver from bad weather, and it consumed very little fuel. With the canister of gasoline, it was possible to cross almost the entire country. After the war, the project attracted the interest of the production cooperative Velo, later named Velorex. In 1950, serial production began in the city of Gradec Králové, and later factory was moved to the Solnice in the Orlický Mountains. The post-war shortage of aluminum forced engineers to look for alternatives. The metal body was replaced with a waterproof fabric. At first, they tried ordinary textile, but it leaked. Artificial leather proved difficult to work with, but there was no other choice. Ironically, this very fabric appearance became the Velorex trademark. Velorex quickly found its niche. In Czechoslovakia, it was mainly distributed to people with disabilities, free of charge or through a subsidized program. After 4 years of use, a person had a right to receive a new vehicle. In addition, tricycles were used by agronomists, rural doctors, and other specialists. There were even cargo versions, small pickup trucks with a platform above the rear wheel. By 1954, production had reached 40 vehicles per month. 80 people were already working on them, but it was precisely then the tragedy struck. On January 1954, František Stransky was killed while testing a prototype on a winter road. Soon after, Mojmír refused to join the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia and was dismissed. The brothers, who stood at the origins of the project, were removed from their own creation. But the process had already been set in motion, and Velorex continued to live its own life. From 1956 onward, the tricycle officially received the name Velorex. The vehicle was gradually modernized. The suspension was improved, more powerful engines were installed, and dynamo starter and hydraulic clutch were added, which overall significantly easing operation. The model index was simple and logical. The first number indicated wheel size, the second engine capacity. The most famous models were Velorex 16250, Velorex 60175, and Velorex 60350. The latter became the most mass-produced version. From 1963 to 1971, about 20,000 units were manufactured. In 1971, Velorex tried to become a normal car. This led to the creation of the Velorex 435, a four-wheeled model with the Java engine. This marked the beginning of the end. The vehicle was no longer unique and could not withstand competition from the Trabant, and in the end production was shut down as early as 1973. In total, more than 50,000 Velorex vehicles were produced, almost half of them exported to socialist countries: Poland, East Germany, Hungary and Bulgaria. Today, according to the club estimates, around half of all produced vehicles are still running. Dozens of fan communities exist, annual gatherings are held, and the Velorex has finally transformed from the disability transport into a cult car. It was not beautiful, fast or prestigious, but it was honest, simple, and incredibly durable. That's all for me. Thanks for watching and good luck.